How's it going, BookTube? Cheers, my friends. Now, obviously, I'm here to do a tag. This is the Authortube in Practice and Theory tag. This is an original by Strip Cover Lit. I was tagged by Marc Nash. Thank you, Mark. Here are the questions. 1. How do you normally start writing a poem? That's a bit tricky. The last poems that I've written were for my wife, so she usually asks for them, and that's how that comes about. Poetry is kind of a different animal than other forms of fiction. When I had a little more time, I used to write a bit more poetry. Number 2, how do you normally start writing a short story? A short story for me generally develops for obvious reasons, and it's because it's not going to flesh out into a novella or a novel, and that is all derived from the various ideas I have. I have a book around here somewhere with different ideas, and the idea generally determines the length of the work. Sometimes it'll be a character. Sometimes it'll just be something I see or something I hear. 3. How do you normally start writing a novel? Well, a novel is an idea, obviously, that develops, and you're like, okay, maybe we can go places with this. And obviously there's going to be multiple characters and a bigger setting, more problems. I start out with different characters, usually physical descriptions, and then I kind of fill those in over time. I have a rough idea of what each character is going to be, what they look like, a little bit about their mannerisms, how they act and react to different things, and I just kind of go from there. And once you get started, the novel just kind of writes itself. It's been my experience. Okay. 4. Do you have a writing strategy? No, not really. When I first started out, I would try to do outlines, and those just never worked for me. The reason being is, as the characters develop, the characters kind of move the story along, and the plot outline that I had previously just didn't seem to work, and I don't like being confined to, okay, this is how this story's going to start, this is how it's going to end. That doesn't work for me. I like it to be a little more free-flowing. 5. Do you compose on paper or a computer? Both. Used to write everything out in longhand. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing that. I kind of like that, though. I mean, it creates a lot more work, but something about having that physical copy of your work that I kind of like. 6. You're allowed to claim one work of fiction as your own. What is it? I don't believe in, plagiarizing other people's work or whatever, but, a lot of times you get ideas reading other people's stuff, and obviously other writers influence you. But, if I could claim a work, it would be something that, I would just go with my standby, which is Midworld, because it's not a very well-known work, but it's just a book that I just absolutely love. So, sorry, Alan Dean Foster. Consider it a compliment. 7. Do you set goals? I set goals. I just never reach them because the way my life is right now, stuff comes up. People need help with various projects, and I just don't have the type of life where I can go, okay, I'm going to get this done this month. I'll have this done 6 months from now. Yada, yada, yada. It doesn't work, I take care of a farm, got animals, and you know, through the summer I have to basically go help folks out and do different things. So fortunately I can't read and write as much as I'd like to, you know, just a fraction of what I'd like to. Okay. 8. Boom. You win the Nobel in literature. What is it that got you the award? Oh, that'd be this here. Gray Sun, The Color Rain, which is actually a manuscript I'm going to submit here this month, and so we'll see what happens. It's the work I'm the most proud of. It's about life in a segregated coal camp circa 1912. And it's, you know, if I had to burn all my other manuscripts and keep one, that'd be the one I'd keep. Don't want to burn any of them, though. Alright. Boom. You're a Nobel-winning millionaire. Where do you live? I'd still live right here. What do you drive? I'd probably drive a pickup. Might have an extra car, too. I only have one all-terrain vehicle. I wouldn't mind having another one or two of those, maybe a side-by-side. That's it. Maybe a Mini Cooper. 10. Boom. You're in writer heaven. There are 5 writers in your writers group. Who are they and why? That is such a tough question, but those dudes over at Strip Cover Lit, they like, you know, putting you through it. So this was a hard one. I mean, you know, there's so many writers that I admire and that I'd like to be in a writers group with, but so I had to narrow it down to 5, so that's what I did. First would be James Baldwin, as a writer that I've just recently discovered in the last 6-8 months, and his writing style just it's artistic beyond description is the best way to put it. And I just you know, wish I could write that way. So James Baldwin, and then 2, Stephen King. You know, I'm a big Stephen King fan. I like his writing style. Be nice to have that horror slant in there. And then Harlan Ellison, one of my favorite writers. Very down-to-earth guy. 4, Ursula K. Le Guin, because if you're going to have a group of writers, you need a woman's perspective, and especially someone of her stature. And 5 is Louis L'Amour. Again, just I want someone from that perspective, you know, somebody that is kind of, you know, not like me, but, you know, I can do some outdoor things, quite a few outdoor things, actually. So, just that mixture, it's a bit eclectic, I realize, but those are my picks since I had to narrow it down. And then who do you tag? Well, I know a few writers on here, and if you haven't done this, go for it. So I will tag Linda Jo Martin, Ben Sanders, Dane Cobain, Stephanie over at Lattes, and Mockingjays. And so if y'all want to tackle this, go for it. So until next time, cheers, drink one for me. And thank you again, Mark, for the tag. Bye.